Okay, YouTube, I am back. I'm still working on this power cloth thing, looking at it, and it looked kind of a little too cobbled together. So what I did is I made a little tiny snake of green stuff, and I'm kind of sculpting it in. And I want to make a welding bead, even though it's really, that's really tiny. I'm looking at a little tool. Here's a X-Acto knife to it with a bent little blade on it, obviously. And I'm just kind of working it into that little crack between the two pieces of plastic card. And then to simulate a weld bead, taking the edge of the tool, using my trusty Vaseline, which I will clean off with alcohol later. This is so much better than spit or water because it just comes off real easily. This gives you a lot more working time. So just going in there and just go. Kind of just like tap it through, and then just kind of keep working it in. I don't like that back piece there. Let's smooth that out a little bit. The beads get a little too thick, so push it up. There we go. I think that looks like a pretty good bead. Oh, also you notice I cut off these things here. I'm going to go in with a small drill and some rod, and I'll come back later and do that. I'm going to do these rivets are just way too big. These I can deal with. Those are fine. That looks kind of cool, and I don't feel like cutting them off. These other two, it looks just too out of place. It was too small of an area for the two little rivets. There's a little divot left from the super glue, but I went in basically and just came in and I know to cut yourself and just kind of cut those off again. So I think this will give it a little more. I think I'm gonna go in there too. I'll come back in a little bit. Let's see if we can do some of this on here. Get the little sausage going. What I'll do is this, then you lay this in. Oops. I'm going to back this off a little bit so I can give me a little more time to work, or a little area to work. Yeah, sausage is in there. Now let's see where we're going to cut it off right there. Let's get some little petroleum jelly on the knife. There, got that removed. I'm just going to use this as a tool as well. There, then we almost. That was kind of went nicely. Get a little moisture on the tool, and then we'll do another reverse kind of. And this is going to texture to highlight, and maybe get a little dry brush in there to have like little highlights on the weld bead. And maybe we got other areas too. Let's see. Let's do a little weld bead there. Just gonna roll a little sausage again. And the tool's stuck, so I'll just put my finger in there. Kind of a little screwed up a little bit. And kind of work these all together like this. I'm gonna really rough weld job. I'm going to try to smooth out as much as possible. And then take the tool, wet it, and we'll put the that's not a really clean looking bead. Let's see if we can. There we go. So there we got a little weld bead going on there. And clean it up a little bit. One piece I don't like. I'm taking the blade in. There. So there we got kind of a half-assed looking weld. And I'm going to go in later and do some new rivets on that side. And I think we'll be almost have this claw done. As usual, thank you for joining me. We'll see you in the next section of this part. Thanks. Okay, we're back real quick. What I'm going to do is just take this scoring tool, and we're going to put the area where we want to put the new rivets that we're making. What I'm going to do is drill out this plate and put in some plastic rod. I've done this technique on a battle wagon before, and it works out quite nicely. There we go. Excuse me. And one more. Let's get this blade cleaned up. We'll drill bit. There. And what we're going to do is get some model glue. Some plastic rod right here. You can see it on camera. Let's get the work back in there. And let's see, some tweezers and a sprue cutter. So what I'm going to do is this. You don't have to make them. You don't have to waste it. Let's make about 4 little rods. There we go. I'm using some Flexifile plastic weld. And what I'll do is grab a rod. You have to use different. I use different tweezers in this. Where are my big tweezers at? Oh, here we go. Let's use these. These are real nice steel tweezers with a. Let's get this back over here now. Okay. Grab some of this. Maybe I'll do something for a little area so I don't make too much of a mess. While it's on camera. Get my. Those don't dump it over. Which I think we've all done that many times. So there we go. I'm gonna, I'll do one more. Okay, so I'm gonna do the last two, then we'll come back and trim them and we'll show what it looks like. So we're back, and I'm just going to show you how I trim these real quick. I don't even think it's completely dry, but it's got those kind of melts together, this welds the plastic pretty nicely. And I can keep going into it, so that it's better taking off a little too little than too much. And these are Orky, so they don't have to be exact rivets. There we go. And we have the actual real rivets. I actually had drills drilled into the plastic of the Terminator arm, and it is done. So I'm going to call this finally done. Sorry about that last... Well, not sorry. I just went through the whole process of this thing on the last video, and this is a quick little touch-up on it, and I think that is it. So, as usual, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you in the next part.